Wait, do you hear this? Okay, we're fine. We're good. Alright, so you're in the shot, Christopher.
Well, my name is John Phillips, and my connection to Gina is that we were married and fellow artists together. Have this house and the shop, and we've been working together for around 20 some years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Since 1993.
Huh. I met Gina when she showed up on my doorstep with a box full of molds. I was busy pouring metal when she showed up, so wasn't quite ready for the visit, but that's our start.
And I'm Gina Michaels. And yeah, John said the rest. But where we came together was through bronze and pouring metal. And John does sculpture, although primarily in bronze and other media as well. My sculpture is exclusively bronze at this point. I was a musician growing up, although I always did art, took art classes. And when I applied to go to a music program in Italy at played cello, after my senior year in high school, I wasn't accepted. But the rejection got lost in the mail, so there I was a few months out from graduation with no plans for the summer. And my mother received a folder in the mail from Sarah Lawrence College that there was an art program in the south of France. She said, go, you like French, you speak French, you like art, because I needed something to do. So I went to the south of France, and they had a sculpture. The sculpture class was in an abandoned limestone quarry, and we were carving stone. So once I got into that quarry and I discovered sculpture, that was kind of it. This piece was made directly casting in sand, open sand, but the inspiration for it was actually when I was making a wax piece, and I was just fooling around modeling in wax, and this cactus emerged. I wasn't even expecting it. So this is a bronze cast of a wax sculpture, a unique piece. But I did do it with this kind of technique in mind. They have these saguaro cactuses. Bonaire is an island in the southern Caribbean, and they had parrots. There was a parrot perched at the top of the cactus. So I actually did see that. These bumps are my knuckles pressed into the sand, and I make all of the elements flat, and then I put them together in kind of like a collage. I don't know in advance what they're going to look like. I just have all these different pieces, and I put them together. I just hold them in place until they're just right. So the overall idea is that when I first started working in the sand, as I said, I just pressed my hands into the sand. And then I used feet, and I created these wall pieces that kind of looked like this forgotten sacred language. But at a certain point, I had studied Qigong and had done body work. So I did a piece with the energy radiating out from the fingers. I drew that in the sand, and the result looked like a plant. So that was a total surprise to me that hands could look like plants. So then I made them plants. And then so what I've been exploring here is how really we're not as separate from plants as we think. The fact that these fingers can look so plant-like shows us that there's an energy that we share. And plants actually move. They move in space, and they exist vertically between heaven and earth in the way that we do. So I enjoy the fact that you look at it from a distance and you think this is a plant, but then as you get closer, you see the fingers. So I'm taking anthropomorphism, I'm standing it on its head, because we humans tend to look at everything and think that an object looks like a human, like a plant, a tree would look like a human. I'm saying humans look like trees. So I'm kind of seeing things from the plant's point of view, right? A plant would look at our fingers and go, oh, those are kind of funny leaves.
Well, how do you color them? Well, a number of ways of doing that. You can paint it. That's the easiest way. That was George Siegel and the people at the Atelier, the Johnson Atelier, finally did that. There's hot chemical patinas where you heat the metal up with a torch and you apply ferric, cupric, bismuth nitrate, silver nitrate, all kinds of different chemicals. You'll get different colors and different variations depending on how hot the metal is. And here we have a dark brush. That's what we use to put it on. And what you do with this is you heat the metal up to about 100 or maybe 80 degrees or 90 degrees. You hear that sound, you know you're alive. This may heat up in a little bit. There it goes. So that's what's going on here. So that's a traditional bronze, so like a warm brown. And the water will give you an idea of what this will look like when it's waxed, because we'll shine it up a little bit, okay?
So these pieces here are in their frames. They're getting ready to be loaded on a truck. I'm bringing them up to Moravian College in Bethlehem. This piece is actually not going to come with us. We built this entire frame thinking that this would be the signature piece, but it turns out it's not going to fit through the door. So we're bringing this piece instead, and this is my first large piece. And then this piece here, Jacob's Ladder, we're about to put in this very simple frame, which will enable it to transport safely. So I've never been hurt or injured in my work in all of these years. However, John did set me on fire once, but I was not hurt. And
you weren't hurt?
No.
You were certainly surprised.
Fortunately, I was wearing a cotton shirt, so it caught on fire, and I patted it out. I was standing on top of a ladder, a very tall ladder at the time, so that could have been interesting. Had I been wearing synthetics, it would have been a whole different story. But we were installing another version of the big cactus that you saw in the studio, and I had been careless about protecting the bird on top. John had warned me, and the bird broke off. So there we were. We installed the piece, and we had to weld the
you only had the
bird back
oxyacetylene
on.
with us, right?
When we're used to using TIG torches, which are very, very finely pointed, but we had an oxyacetylene rig. So as we usually do, I was holding the bird, and John was welding, and all of a sudden my wrist started to get warm, and I realized it was because my watch was starting to heat up. And the next thing I knew, my sleeve was on fire. So I said something unprintable and I dropped the bird, which fortunately didn't get hurt, put out the fire, and I was fine.
And your mom didn't get too excited.
My mother was there, yes. At the time.
That's the joy of being an artist. Is the company and the
socialization.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. If you don't have that, it's like what are you doing?
Thank you.
You're just working yourself down into the dust.
And
And then they just sweep
like
you up
you
and
do
throw you
on-
in the trash, and someone else will come along. You know?
Have you ever been to what is your average day like?
My average day is that I pick up my grandson at 3:00 at Green Street Friends. And it is now 2:47. So I need to go.